Okay, so we are live. I'm gonna just double check YouTube real quick. Do not eat my yarn, you little brat.
But she wants to.
Well, I don't want to pay the vet bills of extracting the yarn from her stomach.
That is true. No one wants you to pay vet bills for cat shenanigans.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That is not a thing we want.
oh, I didn't want that one.
Hmm.
I'll do this. Okay, so we are live. I am going to just put the link on Twitter real quick. We'll see who is anyone here.
I did try to post at least in a couple of places.
Yay, Joe's here.
Yay.
Jessica's here. Hello.
Also, I will retweet if you just tweeted.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
do
I have been terrible.
Whatever tweeting even means nowadays.
Well, that's my thing. Is like I've been logging every time I log into Twitter. It's just people complaining about what's been going on.
Well, did you see the new thing where like you can't even post links to different sites? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I posted, okay, because I'm on Mastodon now. I'm trying it out. And I did post my link before they made the change. And so it's
Wait.
there in my
So you
pinned-
can't post like to different like basically like Twitter competitors, because I've been able to
Yes.
post to other. Oh man, that's sad. That's so sad.
It doesn't even work in DMs. Like if you try to DM somebody your Mastodon link, it won't work. They won't. The recipient.
So like,
Did you know that, for fun fact, Facebook used to do the same thing? Like back, like at one point there was this whole thing that Facebook was actually blocking other like competitor like sites as well, and then they had to stop that because EU regulations were like, our like these anti-competitor like these laws are actually super against what you're doing. So yeah, how about you stop that, or else we're gonna fine you for like millions of dollars. So, and then they were like, okay, fine, we won't block other sites.
anyway, so the fun thing is like, if like me, you tweeted your link before they made the change, the tweet is still there, but if you click the link, it's like, oh, you're going to an untrusted site that may be dangerous, spam danger. And
Yes.
yeah.
Unlike Twitter, which is like what, because we were laughing about this in like IT circles, that Twitter's like domain and also like the SSL certificate are all expiring at the end of the year, and all of the people who take care of all of that stuff have been fired. So you know, it's gonna be a complete shit show.
Yeah. So before we get too distracted with talking about the Blue Health site, let's quickly introduce ourselves for folks who don't know us. So I'll get started. And my cat just left. I was going to introduce her as well. But my name's Diana. You're on my channel, Bookish Die, and I primarily do science fiction and fantasy with some romance and nonfiction thrown in. And I'm going to go to my right, and Rachel, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Rachel. My channel is Kalanati, where if I'm not on break, I talk about science fiction and fantasy and nonfiction and what I'm reading and what I'm crafting. And yeah, you can find me on YouTube. I'm really not anywhere else right now.
I'll go with Kelsey and then Rhea.
Yes.
I'm Kelsey. My YouTube channel is The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I am also on TikTok, and that is where you can find my video content, different content on the two platforms. And I also read SFF almost exclusively, more of a focus on fantasy, and lots of sort of fairy tale-ish, folklore-ish type stuff. Also hats.
Yes, all of the hats. And I love you for it.
I wear hats.
And Rhea.
Yes, I am Rhea. My channel is The Bookfinch, and I am currently on my winter break. We'll be back in January with all of the end of the year content to kick in the beginning of the year. And I usually talk about, SFF and comics, manga, all of that stuff. And yeah, that's me.
And then let's do a bit of reverse order. Rhea, what are you working on?
So I am actually doing my bullet journal spreads for the upcoming year because I realized that unlike normally where I would just like cook up something for like the month, I realized that we're actually starting the whole new year. So I need to do all of the spreads for like tracking all my yearly things. So I'm doing that. And so it's going to be a lot of drawing and measuring and rulering around here. And that's
Okay,
about
Joe's
it.
predicting a cat cameo. So I think my cats have abandoned me for the moment. So I might be relying on someone else to provide
Just
cat
pull out your
content.
knitting. Pull out your knitting. They'll be back in a minute.
I am.
Just take out your yarn.
Kelsey, what are you working on?
So last month I was working on a beaded Christmas tree ornament thing. It was a bit of an experiment. It ended up being a whole lot more work than I thought it was going to be. So I sort of shelved plans to make like a whole set of them, but I am trying to make one more as a gift for someone whose Christmas box I need to pack up and get in the mail tomorrow. So I'm using a plastic ornament, wire, beads, and I'm trying to make a sort of like beaded encasing for the ornament.
Did you finish the last one?
I did. It is sort of packed up, but I can fetch it if you want to see it.
Yes.
I want to see.
And hello, Angela. Nice.
Hi, Angela.
Glad to see you.
Hello, hello.
I'm gonna wait to ask what Rachel's working on until Kelsey. Oh, there she is. Never mind.
So this is the one I am planning on sending to dye.
Oh, that's
Ooh,
beautiful.
that's so nice.
I love the colors.
More work than I thought it was going to be is that it ended up being like loose enough that I needed to add these crossbars to keep the beaded thing from slipping off of the ornament. So
I think it looks really nice.
That's
like it adds a
lovely.
little bit of like something like
yeah,
some
I like
whoosh.
it. But for the next one, I'm going to plan the design with that in mind, as opposed to just sort of adding it on afterwards.
Yes.
I'm maybe going to try to do like sort of like diamond pattern where they'll connect maybe, hopefully, instead of just like doing the straight lines and then connecting afterwards.
Mm-hmm. That's what I kind of wondered if like a lattice sort of pattern would
Yeah, it might be too ambitious. I might not be able to make it work, but I'm gonna try.
Or even like a chevron. That would be super cool.
Yeah.
The thing is round though, and it's like hard to wrap my mind around exactly what needs to happen.
Yeah,
when the
understandable.
item is round.
Hi, buddy. We might have our cat cameo coming up. That's really cool, Kelsey. Rachel, what are you working on?
So it's not much to look at right now, but I'm making an octopus. So we got the bottom. This is just the bottom of the body. There's another layer for the tentacles. And this is going to be the head.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
I've got one more row to do on the head, and then I need to start working on the suckers. There are.
Oh, will the feet have like all of the suction cup things?
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's gonna be so
There
cool.
are 232 suckers on this thing, and I think
Okay,
they come in 6 different sizes. So I will be doing that for the rest of this live show.
I
so
love the color
Rachel,
though for the body.
I need you to share the pattern for this, that I can add it to my never-ending pile of projects that I want to do, but inevitably probably never will, but I want to.
I will DM you the details, but
Yes.
it's Crafty Intentions, Megan Lapp. She has a bunch of absolutely fantastical crochet designs on Etsy and on Ravelry. I recommend just looking them up and Googling them. She has just amazing things. And I have wanted to make this octopus for years now. I will probably end up making 2 of them because I have 2 different people I would like to gift them to. But this is my first attempt. And yeah, I really like this color. This used to be a cardigan that I never wore, so I ripped it out so I could make a toy instead. So.
I mean, sustainable fashion and everything, like
You
stuff.
One of the things I have really embraced this past year is frogging things. I'm very much a process maker. Like I love the things that I make, but I'm not always like super emotionally attached to them once I'm done with them. And so it occurred to me that I have things like sitting around that I don't use that I really liked making them, but I could just reclaim the yarn for other things I want to make. So I have been doing that a lot this year. And I actually have a half finished sweater that I'm gonna rip out and start over as well. And just and it's nice having like free yarn. You already bought it years ago, don't have to worry about it.
Imagine. That's actually super cool. I might have
That
to do
is
that
really
as well.
We did have a cat cameo, and then the cat ran away to cause chaos elsewhere. But
they'll be back.
I hope so. But I mean, yesterday they were mostly napping on the bed while I was doing other stuff, so you never know. I'm currently working. Let's see if I can on a mosaic knit shawl. This was the yarn that was causing me grief last month. So I was mentioning it to folks before we started streaming, but I'm currently working with 3 different balls of yarn, and I made a choice when starting this project, and I'm committing to that choice. But yeah, I'm really loving the colors, and I'm liking this version much better than the version I had initially started. I think the colors are working better for me than the red I was initially using.
It's looking good.
Yeah. I mean, I still have a long way to go with this project. Like,
hopefully it will stop giving you grief.
I think it's mostly just the fact that I have to keep track of the 3 different balls of yarn and make sure they're not getting tangled up with each other. It just makes it so that I it's something where I have to be like very conscious of.
So I don't have a cat cameo because Hermes is too cozied up elsewhere, but I have to tell about the shenanigan he did earlier.
What did he do?
I had this roll of toilet paper, because of the whole flu and flare-up thing. So because I forgot to buy like tissues and stuff, so I just had this roll of toilet paper, and he resisted for days about tearing it up. And today I went, I put on the laundry. I swear I was out of the bedroom for like maybe 2 minutes. I come back and the toilet paper roll is just rolled all over the floor in all of the corners of the bedroom. The whole floor was basically covered entirely with it. And I was like, You resisted so long, and now you did
He
this.
did, but the chaos gene's strong with cats.
Yes. He was such a good boy for a long time, and then he was like, nope, can't do it anymore. Can't do it.
Leia, are you gonna come over?
My pajama banana is sleeping in the bedroom. It is the
Yeah,
time of day where she sleeps.
Is it
Jessica
also
is going to do a temperature blanket. I think those are so cool, especially
what's a
if you use
temperature
colors
blanket? Is
right
it
on
like
them.
Oh, that's
what?
really cool.
Yeah.
It's basically, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, Jessica. Oh, there she is. But it's like you do a row base or like a granny square based on the temperature for a certain day. So it would be like 365 rows, and you like have a range, like a color range for the different temperatures. So you can kind of visually see. We got our first official cat cameo. Leia's like unbanned me.
So did you take out the yarn and she came back for that?
I mean, I already had the yarn out. I think it's just her brother's at the food dish, so she can't go and like easily get snacks. And then, almost done with the blanket. Angel's almost done with the blanket. She started in August, so that's cool. So do we want to talk about stuff we've read lately? Kelsey, did you want to go first?
Sure. I had like a really, really strong start to December in terms of my reading, and then I've just like absolutely what's the word I'm looking for? It went downhill. I started off the month finishing up Nettle and Bone, which was a 5-star read. And then I went straight into reading the new Stariel book, A Rake of His Own, which was also a 5-star read. And then I was like, okay, so I'm in danger of being in book hangover from these 2 excellent reads. And so I was like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to read something that's going to be just like easy to breeze through. I'm not expecting it to be like 5 stars. So I had the Kaiju Preservation Society out from the library, and I was like, I can just breeze through this. I breezed through the first third of it and then set it down and then forgot I was reading it and haven't picked it up since. And it's been like a week and I've read nothing.
Oh no.
I feel like you described my month too.
Is it the end of the year thing? Like it's like just, you've tried so hard this whole year, and then it's like, okay, can't, like the last few weeks, all the air has been knocked out of you.
It kind of feels that way. Like I know for me, I do have some books I need to finish for a reading challenge, but I'm debating if I just want to like steal my sister's copies of my Tamara Pierce books that she absconded with when I left for university, and just like reread the Alana books.
I mean, there are worse plans.
Yeah.
Oy.
That's still frustrating.
Color scheme.
I definitely get like towards the end of the year holiday burnout, where like I put so much work into Halloween, and then like Thanksgiving just has to happen in the middle of there, and like I don't put a lot of effort into Thanksgiving, but it sort of derails the transition to Christmas, if you know what I mean. And then like by the time Christmas comes around, I'm just like burnt out in a life sense because I overcommit to like sending stuff to too many people, and then I haven't been to the post office, and I haven't gotten things wrapped, and I haven't done the holiday TikToks or whatever. And I'm like, oh no, I have to get my lights up on the balcony this year. I'm not doing a tree because I just didn't have the time. So yeah, then like reading and the end of year stuff falls by the wayside for more like life reasons. And I have never done any sort of like end of the year reading goal check-in or anything. Like I don't set annual reading goals because I don't want to disappoint myself if I don't meet them, but also because like December, January is the last time during the year that I feel particularly in the mood to be making any of that sort of content. Like if I could do end of the year checking goals like in the middle of summer, maybe I would be more inclined. But this is not the time of year for that for me.
You could do like a version of like Christmas in July, but it's like having the end of June be your end of year.
I really could. That goes along with the fact that I've discovered that I do counter seasonal reading more effectively than seasonal reading. Like I have such a hard time reading spooky books in fall. I read spooky books in spring. The wintry books I read during the summer, and I'm like looking for summery, fun beach reads during the winter.
Maybe you're just like spiritually like in the southern hemisphere.
Maybe. It's a bit of an issue, but not too much of an issue.
I definitely get you though with like reading wintry things in the summer. I used to, when I was younger, I can't remember the production company, but the people who did like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Frosty the Snowman and Santa Claus is Coming to Town, like those Christmas specials, I used to watch them in July and August when it was really hot. My mom would be like, why are you doing this day? And I'm like, I want to feel cold.
I get that. I mean, I really get that. Like right now I'm like in a huge like steamy romance kick because I just want to feel hot and warm somehow because clearly the temperature and weather is not doing it.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, like one summer, I think it was my first summer living in Oregon where I didn't have AC. Like I reread Spinning Silver because again, I was like, I just want to feel cold.
Love that.
Rachel, what are you in the middle of, or like what was your last read?
I was just trying to think if I can remember what I've actually read so far this month. Goodreads says I've read exactly 2 things in December so far. Oh my god. The last thing that I read that I super enjoyed was Lavender House by Lev A.C. Rosen, which is a very, very queer, like 1950s detective mystery. Like it's a murder mystery. And
I've been hearing about that.
Yeah, I super enjoyed it. It was actually much darker than I thought it was going to be honest. Like when I first picked it up, I thought it was going to be, well, first I thought it was going to be a contemporary because did I read the description? No, I did not. So I was like, wait a minute. But yeah, it was very interesting and I just blasted my way through it.
Does it have anything to do with like the lavender marriages and stuff like that?
From the description, I think so.
It is completely about queer couples flying under the radar in the 1950s.
Yeah, okay, then it's
makes
sense.
So very, very likely. But it also has to do with soap making. So the lavender house it's literally a lavender house surrounded by lavender. So yeah, that was good. And I've just started Bitter by Akwaeke Emezi, which I will probably get through pretty quickly. I've had this book for almost an entire year. I think it came out in February, and I'll probably read it in a couple of days. Just like, why did I take so long to pick it up?
I mean, it is the content-wise, it is a book that really you have to be in a specific type of headspace to be able to
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah. I've been trying to read Mary Robinette Kowal's latest book, The Spare Man, and I don't know why. I'm not getting into that. It's kind of picking up now that I've gotten maybe about a quarter of the way into the book, but I'm not feeling it. And it makes me kind of sad. Maybe it's just my mood or something.
That one I'm hoping to pick up soonish because like my money's on it being on the Hugo shortlist.
Yeah,
Maybe.
could be.
Look, my thing is with the Hugos right now is it's probably not like based on like how good I think the book is, but just who their favorites are. And Mary Robinette Kowal is one of their favorites. So I'm just kind of
Yeah.
expecting it to be on the ballot.
Yeah.
I'm actually having some doubts about even being able to make nominations because like have you seen Chengdu's website?
Yeah, I mean, let's put a pin in that and we can talk about that in a
Yeah.
little bit. But yeah, I'm a little worried about
Yeah.
the nomination process. Rhea, what have you been reading?
Slowly but surely. I finished Into the Riverlands by Nivo just the other day, and
How was it? I haven't read it yet, but how was it?
I liked it. It is not my favorite in the Singing Hills cycle, but like here's the thing. I feel like with Nivo, even the things where I'm like, yeah, this was okay, but not my favorite. Even the things I feel like that about are better than most of the books where I'm usually like lukewarm. Like she just does things like all of her works like just handle themes that I find really intriguing and interesting. And this one in particular, the theme was basically like this exploration of like how one single person can have like multiple different stories about them that are all true at the same time and are all false at the same time, that you can't really fully know another person. And there are like contradicting narratives about one individual, and I just eat that up. I'm like, oh please, yes, I love that. So yeah, I enjoyed it, but I think that the Empress of Salt and Fortune is still my absolute favorite of her work, but maybe it's also because that was just like in the right time, the right teams, the right everything, and I just like it was like candy to me. So and then I'm currently reading Africa Risen. This is edited by Sheree Renee Thomas, Ogene Chove, Donald Ekpeki, and Zelda Knight, and this is a speculative fiction anthology all about like basically African authors and authors from the African diaspora as well. And I've read the first 3 stories, and so far it's really interesting. Like actually, like the project of this is like very genre encompassing. So like the first story in here was like super like pretty hardcore science fiction, and then the second one was basically like kind of like magical realism almost. Like it reminded me of one short story by N.K. Jemisin. Was the name the like Red Earth Witch or Red Witch? But in the
Red Dirt Witch.
yeah,
Love this one.
it was very similar to that one in terms of like the not similar story wise, but like in terms of like tone and kind of the approach. So yeah, I have really been enjoying this one. And yes, Angela, can't wait to see what you and Shannon think about it. I'm gonna have a live show for this on like first week of January or so. So I will have a discussion about this. But yeah, been enjoying that. And then I'm also reading The House of Rust by Khadija Abdallah Bajaber. This is an author from Mozambique, I think. Was it? No. I feel like Mombasa. This one is also like very different from what I had originally thought. Like, I'm not super far into it, like something like 15-20%, but like this kind of gives me the like this sort of like in a way kind of like Howl's Moving Castle vibes, but make it like horror in a way.
I
Like,
need to restart it. Maybe I should
it's
get
very
to the library
interesting.
and talk to you about it, because I kind of failed to get into that one.
I mean, the start is very slow.
Okay.
But now that
maybe
we have the now that I have gotten to the talking cat, it's getting
okay.
better.
I didn't get that far.
Yeah, it has a talking cat, and the talking cat is marvelous. Like he's great. He's snarky and sassy, and like makes the main character, like one of the main characters, like serve him tea and stuff like that. Like it's great. So been enjoying this one. And then I'm hoping to also, like, I haven't started either of these, but I have The Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie by Alan Bradley because Joe actually was talking about the series. And this is basically like a like a little girl solving murder mysteries. So yeah, looking forward to this one. And then
I'm very excited.
this nonfiction that my friend recommended to me, Why Does He Do That? Inside the Minds of Angry and Controlling Men by Landy Bancroft. So this goes into like the psychology of why men have trouble, like why some men have trouble controlling their anger, or why they might have anger issues, and why they project the emotions that they are not able to handle outward towards other people. So we'll be reading that one. So yeah, that's those are my plans.
Nice. I guess that leaves me. So I read 3 things so far, and I'm in the middle of 2 things. So I finished the Shadow Shaper Cipher by Daniel Jose Older, and I really liked it. This was a series where I think each book gets better and better, and I really loved what he did with the magic system and just kind of exploring themes of family and legacy and friendship. And I really, really appreciated that he didn't do miscommunication tropes as like a cause for conflict. So that just made me very happy. I finally read The Curse of Chalion, which turns out it's a Harper title, so I won't be reviewing it yet. But I did enjoy it. And then I finally finished, after starting it last month, Afro-Indigenous History of the United States by Kyle T. Mays. And that one I need to think a little bit about how I feel about it, but for the most part I liked it. And then, Rhea, you'll be excited. I am finally reading Paul Storms.
Yes. I still need to finish the series, but like, this is.
I'm about a third of the way in, and I am liking it a lot more than Grace of Kings.
Here's the thing. For all that I love Grace of Kings, but Grace of Kings is definitely like Ken Liu still like trying to like find his voice in like long form storytelling. Like you can really feel that Grace of King is like his kind of like first long form project after writing very many short stories, and it feels kind of disjointed at times because it like has this like very like sometimes you like even like unconnected snippets, whereas Wall of Storms feels more interconnected and more like just put together, and it's great. And I still need to get to Veiled Throne and everything, but I'm so glad you're getting to it.
So I had hoped to read it before I head out to Canada, but I don't think it's going to happen, and I'm not taking this giant ass book with me. So I checked out the ebook from the library so I can finish it. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it a lot more, and it still kind of frustrates me that Grace of Kings felt so much like a prologue book, but like reading this, I kind of understand why that's the case, because I do think you kind of need the grounding into who the previous generation is to kind of understand, like, especially with Empress Gia, like, she is a really interesting character. Like, I am not sure how I feel about her, but she is interesting.
It's also very interesting that like kind of like both of the empresses play into very different like tropes in like a lot of like court dramas, like Chinese court
Yes.
dramas. And that like if you've ever seen like any of those like 100 episode long court dramas about like all of the like emperor's wives backstabbing each other, you know exactly what to expect.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So yeah, that is one of the ones I'm in the middle of, and then I'm also about halfway through Passing by Nella Larson, which I mostly picked up because I needed to read a classic for a reading challenge, and the audiobook's narrated by Robin Miles, and I'm really liking it. It's a very interesting book.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, so I'm about halfway through, and I'm probably going to finish it today while I'm doing chores around the house. But I'm really enjoying Robin Miles's narration. And then for stuff that I'm hoping to get to before the end of the month, I want to read Holiday Heroine by Sarah Kuhn. This is the final book in her Heroine Complex series, and I'm really sad that it's ending. But this one, it came out earlier this year, but I've been saving it for December because it is alternate universe holiday movie made book form with kaiju. So I'm gonna read that, and then The Jasmine Throne is also on my TBR, and then I'm kind of just playing it by ear for everything else. Let's see what are people reading. So Joe has been reading Ministry for the Future all month. That's Kim Stanley Robinson, correct?
I'm still trying to listen to the audiobook of that, Joe. I'm determined to finish it by the end of the year. I like it. I just forget to turn it on.
Let's see. Angela is reading Fool's Fate, so Robin Hobb.
I had all the plans to read Tawny Man this year, and I just could not do it because simultaneously I'm ready for the next Fitz thing, but at the same time I'm not ready for it because then it will be over. It will be closer to the finish line, and I'm conflicted. Also, like Liveship was so like the whole Liveship Traders trilogy was so good that I'm like I'm not sure if I can be in Fitz's like closed first person narration again, because I got so used to like the third person narration multi point of view thing. I'm not sure if I want to like get into like Fitz's angst. I need to prepare myself.
Ooh, is there any like good cozy fantasy that you've read lately? Because that actually sounds kind of what I want for January. It's just like something nice and cozy.
Cozy. Let's
see.
I have got some things on my TBR that might maybe sort of fit fantasy. I am finally going to get around to reading Legends and Lattes soon. I bought it. That's the big one everyone talks about.
That one I still need to read. I haven't read it yet, mostly because I'm waiting to get the Fairy Loot edition because it is super shiny and pretty, and I feel like a magpie where I'm like, ooh, shiny.
Also, I'm just so like happy that we've been talking for almost like 40 minutes, and I have just done my title page.
Hey, it looks great.
Like I feel like I will not get to all of these spreads during this stream. It's a work in progress. We'll continue tomorrow.
Let's see. I feel like I've got other things on my TBR that are also cozy, but my mind is blanking.
I will say that like all of the things, like for example, if you're into comics and stuff, like for example manga, I would also always say Witch Hat Atelier is like has those vibes, except that right now it's going through a story arc that is like not cozy at all. And it's kind of stressful.
It still has a lot of like cute vibes to it though, even with the more serious stuff.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, like no spoilers obviously. I don't know if you've read the latest volume, like volume.
I am way behind. I've only read the first 3.
Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't read the most recent one.
Okay, I won't spoil it.
It rolled under the couch, and so I'm going to have to mute and do.
I won't spoil obviously, but like let's just say that the most recent volumes, like the most recent 2 volumes of Witch Hat Atelier have definitely been slowly delving more into the dark side of the world, and I love it, but I can't recommend it as cozy.
I'm at a point now, like after I read volume 8, because it's volume 9 is the one that just came out, right?
No, volume 10.
Volume 10.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm 2 behind.
Yeah, volume.
Anyway, the most recent one that I read, right after Worldcon, I did not remember all the characters. I was like, I'm going to have to do a reread.
Yeah, I'm. I also the girl from the other side. I finally finished collecting all of the trades. I was missing 1 volume, so now I can actually finish the damn series. I was missing volume 9, so I couldn't continue on to volume 10 and 11. So now I can actually finish it. But yeah, for some reason, all of the cozy things that I read, at some point, they morph into less cozy things.
Oh, I don't know how cozy Half a Soul and the rest of the Regency fairy tale series by Olivia Atwater is. In my mind, I have it sort of stuck in the comfort read TBR section, but I have that whole trilogy. I'm planning on reading them.
I've heard good things about Half a Soul, so maybe I'll try to pick that up in January.
So that's also on my hopefully early in the year TBR.
I do need to get to Illuminations by Ursula Vernon.
Oh yeah, I need to buy that.
One of my Christmas reads when I'm on vacation.
I do want to read more T. Kingfisher next year. I think that next year might be starting her World of the White Rat.
I want to read, was it Sophie and the Bone Song by, was it Adrienne Toole? Because like it has music, it is wintry, and it has lesbians. And the magic system is based on like the main character is like a flutist.
Sorry, I was focusing on beads and did not properly hear the title. What is the title?
I will double check, but I think it's like Sophie and the Bone Song. I will check. Yes, by Adrienne Toole.
I have her first book, which I've been meaning to read. So
it's also a standalone, so
that's good.
I like to start another series.
That's good. I need more fantasy standalones.
It's spelled Sofi.
Yes.
The Bone Song. Yeah, I looked up a different spelling first and wasn't finding it, so that's your spelling.
Yes. because I'm also like running against time to finish all of my like new releases, soon to be backlist releases reading in order to like actually get some stuff for nomination period.
Yeah, I was able to do the new release-a-thon in August, and that helped a lot for me. Like I was able to read some stuff that I definitely plan on nominating, like Sarah El Arifi for Astounding Award, because her first book, The Final Strife, came out earlier this year.
Yeah.
And I liked that. But yeah, there's still a ton of new releases I need to read.
So many.
Do we want to take a quick diversion from books to talk about other media we've been enjoying?
You guys go
Sure.
ahead. I haven't watched anything except
Well,
random
I
YouTube
have
videos and Vlogmas.
well, I have been watching all of the things on your behalf because of my break. Like so many things.
Do you want to get us started then, Raya?
I've only made 9 of these things.
Well, let's just say, Dai, that I watched something that will make you very happy.
Did you watch
Or
Andor?
Yes, I watched Andor, and I
Isn't
liked
it
it.
amazing?
Andor is probably the best thing that has happened to Star Wars in a long time. Like it is like it like single-handedly managed to like inject some faith that I had lost with like some of the other stuff that's happening in Star Wars. I'm like,
It's
oh,
so
if it's going to be like this, I can enjoy Star Wars again. Yay!
It's so good. And the final episode made me cry like multiple times.
Yeah, I was just like it did like the only things that I maybe didn't like I felt a little uncomfortable was that they like I found how the narrative was sometimes very sympathetic with the with that one Rent a Cop character.
Cyril.
Yeah, and I was like, ooh, I mean I know that we're not supposed to be like the narrative isn't endorsing him and stuff, but it's like because it is so because he is the point of view in those scenes, and he has a very like certain opinion of himself and how he views himself and how for example he views like Deirdre and like women, like his mother and stuff. So like because you're in his head, you see things his way, and then you're like, oh, that's so uncomfortable. But that's also the point. But it's like
Speaking of
I've been like, yeah, I've been like watching.
I was just gonna say I started playing Witcher 3 because the next gen update came out, and I forgot that she voices Yennefer. And I'm just like, oh no.
So interestingly, I've also, because of watching Andor, I have been watching Andor video essays. For example, like Jesse Gender did like a 2-hour video on Andor, and I was like, yes, this is exactly the type of content I need right now. And then after Andor, I watched some inferior Star Wars shows like the second season of Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, and nobody told me about the sexy goth Wookiee Krasantan who is in Book of Boba Fett, and he single-handedly made that show bearable to watch for me, even when it turned into the 2.5 season of Mandalorian.
Yeah, Book of Boba Fett was really disappointing for me.
Yeah.
In terms of Black Cranston, it's really interesting because he was introduced in the comics. And so I'm just like, see, this is the perfect opportunity for us to get a Dr. Aphra show, not show run by Dave Filoni.
It's just like something about his design was just great. Like he has like the silver fox like gray stripes and like a little scar, which I spoiled myself that apparently he got from Obi-Wan at some point, and I want to see that story. Thank you very much. Which I wonder, will we get that if Obi-Wan gets like further seasons?
I doubt. It was a comic story, so I doubt they're gonna.
Well, one can dream. But also like the rings in his beard. Like I'm a rings in beard kind of person. I don't know if I would want them for myself or if I just like them on other people. It's a complicated thing. I have complicated feelings about it, but rings in beards, it's an aesthetic that I like. And wait, And then just yesterday I finished watching Loki finally, and it was okay, I guess. Like, it was fine. And then I started rewatching Malcolm in the Middle because it's on Disney Plus, and I love it because it's great. And that's it.
The thing I just did with these beads does not work, and now I don't know what I'm doing. I need to undo it. Bummer.
You can do it, Kelsey. Like, this is a part of the crafts. Sometimes you just rip it all apart and start over.
Yep. Kelsey, have you been watching anything?
No.
I can go next then because I have been watching some stuff. So I did watch. I haven't seen the new episode yet, but I've been watching season 2 of Leverage Redemption, which I am enjoying. Although I'm wondering. I'm trying to sort out how I feel with what they've been doing with Parker this season, but for the most part, I am enjoying it. Keith David showed up in the last episode that I watched, and it is a crime against me as a fan of Mass Effect because they had him say, "I'm proud of you," and it was just the rudest possible thing the writers could have done, because it made me have emotions, and I don't like that. So I've been watching that. I watched The Big Brunch on HBO, which was created by Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek, and it also one of the judges was Sola El-Whaley, who I adore from way back in her Bon Appetit Test Kitchen days, and I've been following along what she's been doing, and it was very heartwarming. It like gave me the kind of Great British Bake Off cozy competition vibes without the grossness of Paul Hollywood or Matt Lucas. So I would say if you have access to HBO Max right now, it's worth checking out. And then I started playing Witcher 3 again because the next gen update came out, and I love Geralt in that game. He's just such a dad.
Can I hop in just like for a short moment?
Yeah.
On the Witcher thing, to mourn that Henry Cavill went so far as to like remove himself from Witcher in order to play Superman, only to be ousted from the role. And I just feel that is such a travesty.
Honestly, it is hilarious to me as someone who was not a big fan of him as Superman.
It just... And now
I did
Liam
watch
Hemsworth
something.
is gonna gonna
Speaking
play
of Henry
Geralt.
Cavill,
Oh,
I saw Enola Holmes 2, and he plays Sherlock in that.
there's a number 2 in that?
Yeah, it came out at the beginning of November.
Oh, I'm completely behind on Netflix because I canceled my Netflix subscription.
Yeah, it's the only thing I'm paying for right now. Have I watched anything on Netflix in the last month? No. But I did watch Enola Holmes 2, and it was absolutely ridiculous and very fun, and I like Henry Cavill in it.
Yeah.
I forgot
I'm
the
trying
other
to
thing.
save up.
The other thing that I
series.
watched was Dragon Age Absolution on Netflix, and as a fan of Dragon Age, I loved it. Stuff happened at the end which had me scare the cat with screaming. But yeah, I did enjoy it. I don't know how people who aren't Dragon Age fans would feel about the show, but as someone who loves Dragon Age, it worked for me.
I mean, okay. I mean, obviously, I watched Arcane, which is based on League of Legends, and liked it, even though I hate League of Legends. But like, who will watch a show called Dragon Age without even having a cursory knowledge of Dragon Age?
I don't know, but
the only thing that I am regretting about canceling the Netflix subscription for now, I'm thinking of getting it back for like January, is all of the K-dramas that I am not watching, because Netflix, at least the European side of Netflix, is like a slush of K-drama on there, like so many series, including one of my all-time favorites, Master Sun, which hasn't probably aged well, but considering, like, Rachel, if you liked Tomorrow, you might actually enjoy Master Sun, because it kind of deals with similar stuff. It's like supernatural. It's about a woman who can see ghosts, and every episode has like a monster of the week sort of thing, where they solve the trauma of one ghost and sort of like try to make them find rest. And then the main romantic love interest is like he's so skeptic about all things supernatural that he repels them. So every time the woman touches him, she will be unable to see ghosts, and she's like, oh my god, I can actually like get a good night's sleep if I touch this man. So
Well,
she's like
Is this like Korean
Yeah.
X-Files with a romance?
yeah, kinda, but with ghosts. It's great. It's also like 10 years old, the series, like probably more than 10 years old. Like I think it came out in
You
2012.
know what I actually really want to do over Christmas vacation? I haven't rewatched Firefly in 10 years. And also I need to rewatch the 1995 Pride and Prejudice miniseries.
If you're going to rewatch the Pride and Prejudice miniseries,
You want to do that with me?
yes, because I love it. It's my favorite.
I'm a little bit scared to rewatch Firefly, though. I know that I love Pride and Prejudice. It never gets old. But
Wait,
I've only ever watched Firefly through twice, and it was so long ago. I feel like if I come back to it, I'm just gonna like notice how it's aged or something, and have very different feelings about Joss Whedon now.
Yeah, and my problem is like I haven't rewatched, like I own it, so I don't. It's not an issue of access, but like
Same.
the other thing is just like how my feelings on some of the actors have changed and how that might affect me, because like Adam Waldman is a piece of shit, and then Nathan Fillion also kind of a shit show.
Yeah.
Because like his whole behavior with Castle just kind of really
that's what kind of soured me on him as well. Yeah. But I love the show so much.
Doesn't Firefly have like Alan Tudyk in it?
Yeah.
It does, and it also has Gina Torres, so it does have actors that I do enjoy, but it's
Summer Glau is in it, and oh my gosh,
Jewel Straight,
that's it.
It's actually kind of interesting because like, so Cowboy Bebop is one of my favorite shows of all time, and it's interesting to watch Firefly, considering that it's like in development and came out like roughly around the same like time frame. Well, like okay, Cowboy Bebop is like somewhat older anyway, but it's interesting to see the parallels of how they do some things the same and some things very differently in terms of like world building. This whole idea of like a sort of Sinnoh-centric space or world.
Yeah, but yeah, your feelings about rewatching Firefly are kind of like my feelings on potentially rewatching Buffy, whereas like I love that show and I love the characters, but also like I know certain things have not aged well, and like the Joss Whedon of it all, and
as much as I lived and breathed Buffy for a couple of years when I was a teenager. I watched it in junior year of college, I think. Some marathon session with my family, and we all really loved it. But since I watched it and bought all the DVDs and stuff, I have only ever come back to it to watch 2 episodes. The silent episode when I want something scary, and then the episode where, okay, spoilers, but everybody knows this, when Buffy's
Well-
mother dies, the one that doesn't
Oh.
have any background music or whatever in it. I watched that one when I want to cry.
I watched the musical episode and I listened to the musical songs even without watching the episode.
I think I have rewatched that episode, but it wasn't one that like had a really big impact on me. Also, I really liked, I think it was the first episode of season 6. For some reason, I was obsessed with that episode. I rewatched it a lot.
So, what you need to know is that I like Anthony Head. And I like Anthony Head singing. So I also have watched clips of that one episode in Buffy where they ambush Giles when he's doing like acoustic guitar mix about like what the Blue Eyes, that Limp Bizkit covered as well. Behind Blue Eyes, yeah. I will find any excuse to hear Anthony Head sing. I even listen to his album on Spotify sometimes. He has
an
good songs.
album?
Yes, he
I
has
did not know
good
this.
songs. He
So
actually
actually-
like one of my favorite songs by him. He wrote during the film, like after the filming of Buffy, detailing about the experience he had, like living away from his daughters.
Oh.
Because like he would be filming Buffy all year round and he would like miss all these like moments in his daughter's lives, and that's why they kind of wrote him out of the show at one point, because he asked to be on the show less and less because he wanted to spend time with his daughters.
Wow. I did not know that.
And then one of his daughters is Genya in Shadow and Bone.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Wait, what?
I did
What?
not know that. Genya in Shadow and Bone is related to Anthony Head.
Yeah, that's one of his
6
daughters.
degrees of Anthony Head.
Oh my god.
Well, what do you friggin' know?
What?
I still
Now
haven't.
that you mention it, she kind of looks like him.
That's exactly what I just thought.
I still have not seen the Netflix Shadow and Bone, which I find ridiculous because it was one of those things that I meant to watch as soon as it was released, and I just never did.
I think me and Rachel, we did a watch party of it. Yeah.
Daisy Head. Okay.
Because like I've actually read those books.
I hadn't.
Usually nothing that gets a TV adaptation is something that I've read because I don't read the books that get TV adaptations.
When season 2 comes out, we need to have a watch party. So watch season 1 so that
Yes.
you and Rhea and I can jump on. 'Cause
Speaking of TV series, of adaptations, Interview with the Vampire. I haven't seen it because I aesthetically narrow-minded, and I just find the actor who they chose to play Lestat to not be a vibe for me specifically. Like the actors who they chose for Louis and Claudia, like perfect, 10 out of 10. But for some reason, I just look at Lestat's square jaw and I'm like, yeah, I guess that's
Not-
hot for some people.
not doing it for you.
Yeah. And I know that is incredibly shallow because I keep hearing that it is actually quite a well put together adaptation. Like it moves the timeline around a little bit, taking it to the Jazz Age, removes the very uncomfortable narrative point of Louis being a slave owner, and instead imagines him as a black man. Like it does interesting things. I hear that it is actually very well written, and it's also like playing with the idea of an unreliable narrator, and it's going to be interesting to see how that will go forth to the second season of the show, when apparently Lestat will become more like a point of view in a way, how that will switch around, which is interesting because the books do that as well. But I just need to get over my hang up with the actor that plays Lestat. It's like,
What I want to know is it gay?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like ridiculously gay. Like people who have read the books have come out and complained how gay it is. And I'm like, did we read the same books?
That's why I asked.
Because even with like the whole like Lestat being super straight and stuff is like retconned later when Rice found like religion.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, this one
the first 3 books are like
I
clear
haven't
AF.
I haven't watched it, but it's like there was only one coffin essentially.
Well, there is only one coffin in the books as well. Unless that literally says get in, or I'm gonna make you get in.
But yeah, they like I did hear that they explicitly made Louis a gay man as well.
Okay.
So like yeah, I've heard it's very queer and a very good update, but I don't have
Interestingly, the reason why people sometimes think that Louis is bi at most and straight, like, is because of the retcon, like, well, not retcon, adaptational choice they made in the Neil Jordan movie, where the instigating reason for Louis' depression is the fact that his wife and like child die, instead of it being like Louis' brother who dies and Louis blames himself for his death. So in the like original text, Louis never had a wife or actually any sort of like love interest, female love interest before Claudia, his daughter wife. Yeah, yes. Well, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. I have watched one thing since we spoke last. I mentioned that in our last live stream that I was always excited for new Disney animation releases, and I did go to see Strange World.
How was it?
A very nearly empty theater with literally just one other family that showed up late on Thanksgiving weekend.
So was it gay?
Yes. But it's I feel like it's not as important to the story as they were making it out to be. The main thing, though, is that the movie is totally fine, and I enjoyed it. However, it felt to me like the whole story concept, the characters, the visuals, they should have been able to make it a masterpiece. And the fact that it sort of wasn't, it was just okay, made it extremely disappointing for me. Because like sometimes, you know how when something is so close to being great, it can be more frustrating than if it's actually bad. Yeah, that's how I felt about Strange World, because I think because it had so many things going for it. Like some of the reviews I saw were like, oh, the story is simplistic or trite or whatever. And I'm like, but it's a Disney movie. You don't need it to be wildly complicated or like over
dramatic.
But like it didn't, the script never hit the emotional notes that I felt like it intended to. And I think it was like the dialogue was not great. Like something in the actual like script writing was not up to par with what I expect from them.
So that it needed like an additional punch up, which it didn't have.
Yes. And there are certain like emotional beats that I was expecting it to hit, or that it didn't, or like when it did, it felt like cheesy and and shallow instead of like going all in with like the Disney emotion feels that I was expecting. And it's one of those things where I sort of been turning it over in my head, like what didn't work here when everything should have worked. This had all of the elements to make something much better. And you know, I do think the dialogue just wasn't great. Like you start out with, like early on, there's a sort of backstory scene where the character who is the dad is a kid, and he's arguing with his dad, and I was sort of like snorting at how the writing was just not great. Like I hope it gets better from here, and it just sort of didn't. But then like the whole concept, and I don't want to spoil it because like it should have worked, and I was so mad that it did not quite.
So question,
Yes.
is it good enough that you would want us to see it?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a Disney movie, so everyone's going to see it eventually, right? But
Well, not
well,
necessarily.
it depends on what you want to watch it for, because like I watch Disney movies, specifically Disney animated movies, as like I watch other animated movies too, but the reason I watch the Disney ones is because they sort of have a formula where they hit those emotional feels in a very specific way.
Yeah.
And this didn't manage to do that for me. But if you want to watch it for like the visuals, I think like the visual world building is exceptionally cool. You know, there's a lot of it that's just lovely to look at. It has this sort of retro adventure sounding musical score. It's got exciting action chase scenes, flying an airship. Like it's got all of those things that I think if it didn't come with that Disney animation branding, I would be also much, you know, more enthusiastic about, because, you know, those are some of the things I watch animation for more broadly. With regards to the much touted queer romance, that like it is like there, and it's something that the character talks about, how he has a crush on this boy.
Question.
Yes?
Can it be edited out for foreign markets?
They would have to totally rewrite it. Like they
is an improvement.
Because like if they were like, there isn't an on-screen kiss, for example, but like it's very clear from the dialogue that he talks about how he has a crush on this boy and how he is, you know, too nervous to tell him, even though it's like really obvious that they're mutually flirting with each other at the beginning. But like the boyfriend love interest does not go on the adventure with them. So he's just talking about this with like his parents and his grandpa. And this was one of those things where I'm like, did something end up on the cutting room floor that would have made this make so much more sense? Because I felt like his whole character arc was going towards like he was going to finally have the confidence to tell what's his name
What's his name?
that he likes him. And like he's going to have a dark moment of the soul where he thinks he's going to be lost and not make it back home to tell what's his name that he loves him. And then like there's gonna be a moment, and there was not a moment. We just like had at the end a jump to 1 year later, and we see that they're together. I'm like, wait, so what are we missing something?
I will be very interested to see it. I wonder if it will have like a simultaneous release on Disney Plus.
Part
Because
of what
I would not necessarily want to go to the theater.
Pajama-rama, come say hello.
Is that a kitty?
Come here, Pajama.
A kitten is coming.
I will scoop the pajama pie.
Oh, she's so chunky.
Leia, your twin. Leia.
Twin.
I love her. She's so cute.
Pajama pie.
She's so cute.
She's very
Also, is her diet going well? Isn't she on some sort of diet?
Yeah, she's on very strictly regimented 3 meals a day. 2 of them are wet food. 1 of them is weight loss dry food distributed by automatic feeding machine in the early morning, so she doesn't wake me up for it. And I think it's working. Maybe.
I mean, you could take like monthly like pictures and then have it side by side, and then you will notice it better.
See, the thing is, I think she is significantly sleeker than in my first photos of her.
Also, like whether your biceps are hurting from lifting her versus when you got her.
How much does she weigh?
When she was at the vet last, she was 12 pounds.
Oh, so she's smaller than Leia.
But that was also after she'd been on the weight loss diet for a few weeks.
Let me just look pound to kilograms from Google.
Yeah, Leia, last time I was at the vet, was 13.5 pounds. So you could probably lose some weight, little chunksters.
But yeah, that was after she'd been on the weight loss diet. And I was going back and I was looking at her photos from her her listing on the rescue website. And like, she is obviously much skinnier now than she was in those photos.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Tesla at his fattest was probably like 14 pounds.
You're just
Can't believe how big your cats are.
Luke's 11.5.
Motivated.
Leia's more food motivated than, well, it depends.
I'm trying really hard to get my dog over 8 pounds right now.
I'm having to look into getting some diet plan for Hermes as well, because last time the vet said that your cat is getting a little bit on the fat side, and I'm like, oh no, oh no. I'm trying my best. I play with him every day.
I made 60 suckers and I was doing it wrong the entire time.
No.
Oh no!
I'm gonna use them anyway. They're just a little bit more like spirals than like the sucker thing. You can't really tell from
Is it knitting or crochet?
Huh?
Knitting or crochet?
Crochet.
Okay.
Crochet with the hook.
Crochet. Okay, so
yes.
Yes.
Yes, what?
I was just going to say that can we talk about a couple of things like the Chengdu website thing.
Yeah, I
absolute
finished
shit show.
the pin and that's let's take the pin
I'm gonna go
out.
look at their website. Chengdu.
It is horrible.
It's a mess.
Also, I will say that I did vote in the site selection for Chengdu, and I have not received any news about the supporting membership. So there's like a communication issue, and I'm like at this whole point where I don't know if I want to even complain about it, because I just
So, just to be clear for
don't know if I
anyone,
want to go through the hassle.
to be clear for anyone watching who doesn't know, if you vote in site selection for the Hugo Awards, you get an automatic supporting membership regardless of whether or not you voted for the winning bid.
Yeah.
So I also have, this supporting membership in theory from voting in site selection, though I did not vote for Chengdu.
Me neither.
And have not heard anything.
Yeah. I have checked my spam and I have like 2 possible email addresses that could be, but I keep checking both of them, and I'm like,
And
I have
it
this
is-
like whole thing where I'm like, am I gonna have to like contact people, and also who to even contact, because their website is like very poorly optimized.
I can't get it to load, guys.
Well,
I
and
think
You
they're
might
shutting
have
it
to
down
you
right
might
now.
have to go to incognito mode,
Oh crap.
because
And-
like if you have certain like settings in your regular browser session, like cookies and stuff like that, it might not load. For me, it does not load on regular session ever, so I always have to go incognito. Sometimes I have to put up a VPN.
Oh gosh, I don't have my VPN right now.
Well, and then the other thing that's really concerning related to supporting membership is there's no way to buy one like as of now, and we're getting towards the cutoff for folks
Yeah.
who were either supporting members or attending members from ChiCon to
Mhm.
get a membership, which means people are going to get locked out of nominating.
Yep.
I paid my $50. I should be able to nominate
Yeah, that's
and
the
vote
thing.
this year.
I do not actually want to buy a supporting membership. I want the supporting membership that I already know that I should have
Mhm.
by
I already paid
voting
for it.
in the Discon.
Yeah, that's the point for me of doing site selection most years. Like I know who's going to win. I want the cheaper rate for the supporting membership when you do it that way. So
So that's
Sorry
the
for
thing that's
disappearing there for a
frustrating
moment.
me.
I was still listening in. Yeah, so just to sort of review, what would be normal at this point would be for people who already have the membership from site selection to have at least been getting like
An
some
email?
basic update emails,
oh
right?
my gosh, I mean after Dublin, I think
I think
had
I
an
got
email
mine
from the
like
next
in a
Worldcon by the
week.
time I was home, like a couple days later.
Yeah.
They process those things really fast. You shouldn't be waiting more than a couple of weeks. I think the longest I've waited for an American-based Worldcon was like a month maybe before getting something. So
Yeah.
and to me, it just feels weird because they're obviously very active online. Like I keep seeing Chengdu stuff in my Twitter feed still, so they're still around. But
Yeah, it's like, for me it is very concerning. I don't know how else to put it.
mhm.
And yeah. And another thing that has been really interesting was the whole recent Tor books using AI art on the book cover of like
Mhm.
Christopher Paolini, which was like, wow, this
That happened
is
fast.
so unethical.
It's
In
so
so many
unethical, and then the fact that like they didn't even say like we'll take steps to make sure this doesn't happen in the future.
Right,
like
right.
the whole statement on it was just like, sorry, we got caught.
Mhm.
Also,
right.
they
said they made here's the thing with the statement. They made a whole point about saying, oh, we were unaware that the image we had licensed from the stock imaging site was AI, we have decided, unfortunately, that we have no choice but to continue with this cover. We will support creators.
Exactly. Why can't they change the cover? The book isn't coming out for months and months.
So I can understand, like, printing wise, like, given the paper shortages and like just the kind of shit show it is with printers, why
But
they
like
might.
they could have at the very least said, we promise that we will not do this for future titles. We will do our vetting, because
Or like,
obviously,
well, for the paperback run, this will get a new cover.
right. And
What?
so like they seem to be apologizing by saying, oh, we didn't know, and they want forgiveness because they didn't know, but they aren't making any promises going forward. And it's not like they can't, it's not like there's no way to know. I think there's a separate question and or separate discussion to be had about like books getting from major publishers getting original art as opposed to getting stock image covers. And I find it sort of fascinating and perplexing which books get original art and which ones don't. But aside from all of that, assuming that they are licensing stock images, like it has to be possible for them to do the research to make sure that they're not licensing AI images, because obviously someone already managed to source this image back to an AI source on their own doing research, right?
I think it's also very telling that if you go to the post, they have completely blocked anyone from commenting on the post. So you can only comment by either like retweeting or quote tweeting, or like doing your own like thing. So that is also like they know for a fact what kind of response their apology or non-apology would
They
get.
know they're doing a non-apology. They
Yeah.
know people will be angry about it.
And people are angry, rightfully so. And I honestly think that they thought that they were gonna get away with it, but the discourse around like it's like, I mean, John Oliver made a whole last week tonight episode about AI art and how unethical the current practice is. And like how if you compare it to like AI that creates like music tracks, how differently artists are being like viewed, because like for example, like they are like the AI for like creating new music is like intrinsically made with like only royalty free music, because they know that the music industry will like completely wreck
I did
the
not
dev
know
teams.
that. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah. Whereas like even the commercial AIs that you have to pay for, you can they just like train it with like they basically scrape gallery sites for like most popular artist names, get their stuff, put it in the machine, and like put it in the training set for the algorithms. So like, I mean, literally, you like currently, if you look for Greg Rutkowski's work, you are starting to see more AI work that was generated using his images as training sets than you will get Greg Rutkowski's own work. So, and people are literally like saying that they are going to make commercial art and sell prints and sell t-shirts and sell merch that they have created using AI, like these image generators that have been trained using other people's art that is protected by copyright, and in some cases is even like their art that has been used to train these models was commercial to begin with. So it has an extra layer of copyright protection where it shouldn't be used in another setting, in a commercial setting, because it was done, for example, for a video game or some other like IP. So it's like it's a complete and utter wreck, and there's no legal protections for any of the artists. And I've had like I've like I'm starting to like lose track of how many conversations I've had with like various like my tech bro acquaintances who just don't get it and don't see a problem with it because they think like engineers and they don't think like creatives. So yeah. So I was very, very, very disappointed in Tor Books'
Well, and then
non-apology.
well, and then Paulini was also just like showing his ass during that entire thing.
Oh,
too.
I did not even see that.
I
I
didn't
did not
see
even
that.
see that.
I don't have links right now, but he was just being like, well, if that's the case, we probably wouldn't even have, like, I don't think we could get published this year. And a lot of authors who've had their books bumped are like, cry me a fucking river.
But there was that one person who actually created a cover. Like they, like when this whole controversy hit, like, they were like, "Hey, here's a cover I created that wasn't done using AI art, and like if Tor, if you want to talk, here's my details." So
Well,
it's not like
yeah, and it's the other thing too. It's like it's the dust jacket. Like it's not the book. It's I don't know. Like the entire thing just it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not.
The other thing I'm gonna say is based on stuff that I've heard about the PHN, Patrick Nelson Hayden, the publisher. I'm not surprised that Tor's statement was what it was.
I mean, it's a very very corporate statement, to put it mildly. Like
so and then
there's like thing, how can you sorry.
Oh, and then the other thing too is that apparently because it was generated with Midjourney is like there's like a weird thing with the copyright of it. So they're like Tor because like when you buy a stock image, I think like the copyright's weird. So someone could like buy that same stock image and like do a cover that's like very similar and Tor wouldn't have really any recourse.
Yeah.
So it's just it was a dumb move.
But also the whole message they put out is like how can you use like how can you put a statement out with this many words and say absolutely nothing about nothing? Like sure there were words, but nothing of value was said. Nothing of meaning was imparted. And that is also probably why people are so pissed, because it's so glaringly obvious. Like some poor intern had to probably write that and was like, well, you know, I'm getting paid pennies anyway.
Totally forgot that I was supposed to be crafting. Got distracted with the cat.
I'm starting.
It's a very nice distraction to have.
I don't even know where the thing I was making went. Where did it go?
I'm just gonna keep my camera here so we can have a Leia cam.
She's like, "Why are you touching me? I'm trying to take a nap."
If I keep my camera here, then you can't see me. That's the problem.
Well, we can see your hands, which are not doing any crafts.
I am.
There's a cat to be petted.
That is fair, though.
I am narcissistic enough that I would like you to be able to see my face. Hello, Jenny.
I'm hungry once again. After this stream ends, I will once again have rye bread with nice spicy Finnish mustard and some ham.
I think I might need to go get a snack now because...
Yeah, I'm actually... Do we want to wrap up early? Because I'm also like very hungry.
Like suddenly hungry.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, are there any books coming out in January that people are excited about? I know for me, I'm looking forward to The Keeper 6 by Kate Elliott. I have that is like one of the only things I have pre-ordered right now. And then there's also The Daughters of Istahar by Hadir El-Spy, which is
that
a sapphic Middle Eastern fantasy duology,
I'm
which
also
sounds
looking forward to that.
super interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Margaret Rogerson has a novella sequel for Sorcery of Thorns coming out, which I'm also looking forward to.
I still need to read Sorcery of Thorns.
I really liked it. I might actually take that with me to reread when I'm in Canada.
I managed to do my second spread. All of those
Yay.
tiny numbers.
I think that most of the stuff that I'm really looking forward to next year are March releases, but I haven't sat down to really update my list. But yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I did nab a copy of Rose House by Arcadia Martin. I managed to get one in the pre-order.
Envious.
So that's coming out in March, and I'm very excited.
Godkiller's also on my want to read list. I'm pretty sure Illumicrate's doing it for its January book, and I finally got on their book only subscription list. So
I'm so sad about the whole Illumicrate thing, because every single time I'm on the wait list, and every single time they're like, okay, you're off the wait list, here's your designated window to get on the list, and I'm like, this is the month where I don't have any extra money. So I guess I'll rejoin the wait list then.
You could always come in and skip, maybe.
Yeah, but you have to like do the first box. Like after that you can like skip, but you have to do the first one. So hopefully one day.
A January release that I am cautiously excited for is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, mostly based just on the title alone. I want a book called Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies to be good. I think the author has written some YA and middle grade titles before, but this might be her first adult book. And it promises to be like fantasy romance-ish with like, you know, fairy folklore and stuff, and academic research into, you know, fae and so on. So that
actually does sound very nice.
That's pretty good.
It does. I have an e-arc of it, so I'm hoping that will scratch the sort of cozy winter itch. And that's the date on that is January what? January.
Like all of the books that I want to see. Is there anything that is coming out in January? Also, I find it very annoying that I can't just like put the even the like Assassin of Reality, which is the sequel to Vita Nostra, is coming out in March. So all of the books that I want to read are coming out in March, apparently.
Wait, what? They've announced the sequel?
Yeah. Assassin of Reality Vita Nostra 2 is coming out on March 14th. It has a cover now. I have seen some people already receiving physical arcs. So that is coming, in case, Rachel, you want to continue our tradition of buddy reading.
Yes.
Let's see. If we're looking ahead, what do I have for February? Roshni Chokshi has her adult debut, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride, coming out in February.
I am mildly curious about that one. I will wait for reviews probably. It's one of those ones where I cannot tell strictly from the book description if it's actually fantasy or if it's just teasing, you know, fantasy related stuff without actually being a genre title.
It sounds like it's definitely like a Black or a Bluebeard retelling of some sort.
It does, but is the magic real? I can't tell. And it's one of those things where I think it's probably because it's from you know, a general fiction publisher as opposed to an SFF imprint. So like books that are published by non SFF imprints, even if they are fantasy, tend to like try to tease, is the magic real or is it not? Is it in their heads or whatever?
So I have like the closest thing to New Year's in terms of releases that I have is a book that is of no interest to anyone but me, which is a Finnish book, Until We Kill Again, which is also a pun, until we meet again, because of the verb structure in Finnish. Kill and meet are very similar. By J.S. Meresmaa, and it's a vampire story about a vampire who is allergic to blood and can't consume blood, and which makes his life like very, very inconvenient.
Let's say, how does he survive at all without?
I think it's it's a like YA like horror mystery, but it's essentially kind of like supposed to be a take on like chronic pain and invisible illness.
Mhm.
So I think the blood allergy kind of like is supposed to like play with that aspect. I just found it interesting, so I'm like, oh, well, it comes out in February. If you know Finnish, you know, you can pick that up. Or if you're learning Finnish, it's YA, so I doubt it's gonna be like super complicated language. Usually Finnish YA tends to have a little bit of a simplistic bent. Oh, Jamie, you look so adorable.
She's adorable.
I would like to be a cat right now. I just like to curl up somewhere warm and go to sleep.
Oh my god, we're getting Belly.
Belly!
Oh.
Belly has been flopped.
Oh.
I love the fact that with both Luke and Leia, the belly isn't a trap and I get to pet it.
Yeah, I mean, my whole hand is a roadmap of pain because Hermes's belly is definitely a trap, but also like he love bites. He has this thing like he starts nibbling on you. Like if you start to pet him, he will like lean into your hand and he loves every moment, and he purrs very loudly, and then he starts biting you because he gets so excited. And I've been trying to teach him out of it, but so far with little success.
Leia will lick me sometimes. She'll just be like, yeah, you're.
Also, what does it say about me that my pain tolerance is so high that I don't even mind the biting? It's like, okay, I guess you're doing that.
I don't know if you can tell, but she's like licking me right now.
Yeah,
I can tell.
I can see that tongue.
Also, she looked like, well, that was an interesting taste. Just looking out into space, like,
Yeah, the cats are very happy that the World Cup is done, so I will stop shouting at the TV.
Who won?
Argentina on penalty kicks. I
Who
had to
won?
turn
I
it
don't know
off.
what that means.
The team I wanted to win won.
Is this the same, the Qatar World Cup thing?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, so Qatar won.
Yeah, they really did. I was following. I refused to watch the American or the U.S. English broadcasting because Fox News or Fox Sports has the license, and they were being like all their funding for like the studio and stuff came from Qatar, so it was just like sports washing to the max. So I was watching the Telemundo stream, which was better. Anyway, so before we log off, where can folks find you? You can find me here at my channel at Bookish Die. You can also find me on, for now, unless it implodes, Twitter at Bookish Die, as well as Hive at Bookish Die. I'm not on Mastodon, mostly because it's very confusing and I don't understand it.
I still haven't.
I have not committed to anything because I don't want to.
Rachel, where can we find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Kalanati. I'm not super active anywhere right now. I'm kind of on break because I'm tired. But whenever I reemerge, it will be on YouTube. And it may not be a while because I'm like this close to getting a loom, and I'm gonna be in my basement working on a loom.
Ooh.
That sounds very much like you.
Yes. I took a weaving class last weekend. It was amazing, but also exhausting. And after thinking about it for a couple days, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to renovate an entire room in my house so that I have a space to put a floor loom in there.
Like the big one.
Yeah. Not like a huge one, but a 36-inch. So.
Yeah, we had back in my childhood, my mom weaves and wove, and we had like a whole like one bedroom that was just filled up with her loom, like the whole bedroom, like something like 20 square meters.
Yeah. I cannot fit a gigantic loom in my house, but I can get a 36-inch one in my basement. So.
I mean, whatever makes you happy.
It's not just for me either. Like I'm being impulsive, but my mom is going to use it too, so it'll be for both of us.
That is great. I am contemplating on investing in another sewing machine. I have like 2 plus my serger, but I want a better one.
Are you going to replace them or just add one?
I'm probably gonna actually like replace the shittiest one, which is like ironically the shittiest like sewing machine that I have is the one I use most, because it is just so, it's light, it's very easy, you don't have to fix anything because it's a plastic piece of garbage, and it does the job, it just does it poorly. But I actually like, I would want a machine that can do the like button closures automatically,
Oh, yeah.
because currently it can do like the buttonholes, but you have to like do it manually, and after each side you have to like turn it. Yeah, I just I want an automatic button like stitch, because I have this idea, I have designed a few already, and I just need to find the time to do the patterns. I want to do like these button down like gothic shirts, which has like a very structured collar here, but it's open at the front, or open at the back, but it's like otherwise very like a structured men's shirt.
And you need a lot of buttonholes.
Yes, the whole like front here at least, and the sleeves. Also, I want to play with the idea of doing like those you know, those Vampira type sleeves with the like where the button closer is like this long and has the pearl buttons, but those you can fake with the ribbon closers. But yeah.
Where can we find you, Kelsey?
Yes, I am the Fancy Hat Lady Reads on YouTube. I'm at the Fancy Hat Lady Reads on TikTok. I am newly on Mastodon as at Fancy Hat at wandering.shop. And I am still on Twitter. And I keep forgetting my Twitter handle. I'm at the Fancy Hat Lady on Twitter, because at the Fancy Hat Lady Reads is too long and for a Twitter handle, so I never remember whether I cut off the or the reads.
The important distinctions.
I've had Twitter for how many years and I can never remember my Twitter handle.
And then Rhea, where can we find you?
You can find me on YouTube at The Bookfinch, and for now you can also find me on Twitter with the same name, I don't know. When the Great Purge comes, you might just find me on YouTube after that.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back next. Aw, baby. We'll be back next month for our January Stitch and Bitch, and I believe we are going to be on Rachel's channel. So stay tuned, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays,
Happy holidays, Happy Hanukkah for those
New
who
Year.
celebrate.
Yes, indeed. Very happy holidays for everyone who
Happy
celebrates.
New Year. All right,
That
bye.
too.
Bye.